Hey everybody, I'm Zach. Now you all know me as your trusty ultimate guide to all things awesome. And as you can tell from my getup, sometimes that means you gotta get aquatic. So we're taking a dangerous dive deep into the ocean to check out a fish that's been ruling the waves since the age of the dinosaurs. No, not these little guys. This guy. And if that face doesn't ring any bells, I know those jaws will. Ah! That's right, we're talking sharks. Some of the most ruthless, vicious killers to ever live on Earth. But that's only part of their story. With about 370 species, sharks are much more than just a pretty set of teeth. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. So, on your marks for the sharks, and get set to be wet. Ultimate guide to the awesome style. Ah, summertime. Don't you just love it? Hot sun, blue skies, the crystal ocean waters. Makes me just want to dive right in. Then get lazy, baking on the beach, watching the icebergs float on by. Oh, did I mention we're up in the Arctic Circle? Not exactly the most inviting campground, but it's the best place to get a look at the mysterious Greenland shark. That's one of the local Inuit guides. Now, my Inuit's a tad bit rusty, but I think he said something along the lines of, "Batten down the hatches!" This is Nick Kalianis, underwater photographer. He's hoping to be the first person to ever capture the Greenland shark on film. And he's gotta hurry. There's a storm blowing in, and time is running out.
We've got 24 hours left. 22 and a half hours of daylight.
Arctic storms are so scary, even the locals are out of here. But Nick is willing to risk it.
One really big problem, the guides took off last night, so we're here alone.
Man, things look pretty bleak. But then, the winds die down, and Nick slides down into the freezing Arctic Ocean. It's now or never. One last shot at greatness. So down into the murky waters they go. Hard to see much of anything down here. And then, just when it looked like Nick and his team might have to give up and go home, well, I'll let Nick tell the story.
I'd been diving over 2 hours in the icy 29-degree water when from 50 feet away, I saw a large animal. I thought it was a narwhal without a tusk, but as I approached, the animal turned, and I realized I was eye to eye with a Greenland shark. Its interest now was diverted to me. My brain clicked, and I was remembering the diet of this species, including small whales and seals. It felt like lunch for this supposed lethargic lunge feeder. Would it suddenly gulp me down? I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I thrust the big camera out and bumped him in the nose a few times.
Now, all you kids watching in the Arctic Circle, do not try this at home. Nick is a professional shark nose bumper.
I started to backpedal nervously towards the surface, and luckily for me, the shark became disinterested and went back to the easier prey.
Wow, Nick sure likes to live dangerously, but he got what he came for. And all that amazing footage of Big Greenie has been a major help to the scientists who study these cold water kings. It's also brought up tons of new questions. But before he heads back to the Arctic Circle again, I think Nick's gonna take a nice hot bath. And come to think of it, what do you say we head for some warmer waters too? Sharks are easier to find there anyway. Ah, now this is what I'm talking about. None of that Arctic murk to block our view. About 3/4 of the Earth is covered with the seas and oceans, so there's plenty of room for all kinds of cool-looking creatures. Just counting the ones we know about, there are over 20,000 different species of fish. And this guy looks hungry enough to eat every one of them. Stay in school, kids. I tell you, if these little dudes aren't careful, they're gonna end up as today's Blue Plate special. Now, not all sharks are as big and hungry as this one, but most of the 370 species of shark are right up there, at the top of the food chain. And down there, cruising the ocean floor, too. In fact, they're all over the place. Now, you wouldn't want to go swimming in these shark-infested waters, but it's actually a good thing the sharks are here. Even though they have a pretty scary reputation with water-loving humans, sharks do an important job, helping to keep the ocean's ecosystem in balance. How do they do it? Simple. By chowing down on all the weak and injured sea creatures. And they're on the job all day, every day. And of course, the ultimate hunters have got state-of-the-art equipment to help them find their prey. Their senses are so finely tuned, they could find the nearest seafood joint with their fins tied behind their backs. Like their hearing. It's so incredibly sensitive. Sharks can pick up sounds from as far away as 15 soccer fields. Sound actually travels through water better and farther than it does through the air. This experiment shows what kind of sound sharks like the best. That speaker is playing
low-frequency sounds
with irregular vibrations. And the sharks are saying, pump up the bass, y'all. That's because it's almost the exact same sound that a wounded fish makes.
Hey, you come back here.
Oh no! No place to hide! That fish is right to be nervous. No matter where it runs, or swims, the shark is probably gonna get it. That's because when the shark gets within a few hundred yards, its sense of smell takes over. Like dogs, sharks sniff out a scent and stay on the trail. Uh-oh. He's headed this way. He probably smells my tuna sandwich. Whew. Thought I was toast. I mean, these guys can sniff out a single molecule of blood in over 1 million molecules of water. So if there's food around, they're gonna find it. But just how do they do it? Well, sounds like a case for the super seer of the 7 seas, Mega Magnified. Now that's one of the shark's 2 nostrils. As it swims, the odor-soaked water is pushed through, and superfine sensory tissue picks up on what's cooking. After that, it's not a matter of if, but when this boy is gonna chow. And with a guy this big, you just know he's coming back for seconds. But excellent ears and a super schnoz aren't the half of it. Sharks have even more super senses up their slippery sleeves. One that's especially awesome clues them into any struggling fish as far as 100 yards away. But can it detect the arrival of Mega Mag? Vibrations are picked up by the lateral lines, ultra-sensitive, fluid-filled canals that run under the shark's skin. The canals are lined with tiny, hair-like receptors. Their job? Pick up on the vibrations made by wounded prey. That info brings the hunter even closer to its victim. Finally, at around 30 yards, the shark can literally get the target in its sights. and you know Mega Mag's still got an eye on things. Shark eyes, like sharks, come in all shapes and sizes. If they feed in shallow waters, they'll usually have small eyes because there's light to help them see. But if they dine down deep, they'll have larger eyes to make the most of the light they do get. And some sharks have an eyelid called a nictitating membrane. It works like safety goggles to protect the eye when a shark bites down on dinner. But to me, the most stupendous shark sense of them all is the one it uses at close range. And its name is just as awesome as what it can do. You might want to pop in a tape and hit record, because it's time to look at the ampullae of Lorenzini. And here comes Mega Magnifier to put a face to that awesome name. It all starts with these pores on the snout and head. They lead straight to these jelly-filled sacs. Crazy as it sounds, the sacs can detect electricity. See, open wounds, like an injured fish, produce tiny electrical fields. The amazing ampullae can pick up on this current, even if it's only 1/100 millionth of a volt, which wouldn't even power a nightlight. Shocking. Well, it hardly seems fair to the rest of the ocean. I mean, any one of a shark's super senses would be enough for most fishermen. Hang in there, little guy. The high-powered hearing, hypersensitive smell, and those electro-fantastic ampullae of Lorenzini, well, when you put them all together, the shark's prey better say its prayers before it turns out the lights